Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Moran, and I'm back today with another story in sign language. It's a great story today. You know Pete the cat, right? Well, this is a story with Pete, and he's getting ready for his lunch. Let me show you some of the signs you're going to see in this book. You're going to see me do this a lot. This is the letter P, and I'm putting it by my heart. This is called a name sign, and I'm using this to mean Pete. So he's going to have lunch. You're going to see this sign a lot too. This is an L by my mouth, lunch. Let's go over some of the food you're going to see in this story, because there's a lot of food that maybe you wouldn't put on a sandwich or I would put on a sandwich, but Pete is putting on his sandwich. So he's making a sandwich. That's the sign for sandwich. Your two hands up to your mouth, sandwich. And of course, he's using bread. Let me show you the sign for bread. You see how that's almost like the slices of bread? Bread. Here are some things he's putting on his sandwich. The first one is a tomato. You take your hand, and you kind of make an O, but it's a little flatter. And then you take your hand here, this is to symbolize red, and you cut it like you're cutting a tomato. Tomato. You know this sign from other stories. He's going to put some fish on his sandwich. He's also going to put some, that's the sign for crackers. He's going to put some crackers on his sandwich. Pete loves crackers. Here's something I definitely would put on a sandwich, a pickle. It's a P. Remember we did P here for Pete? A pickle. He's going to put a pickle on his sandwich. And an egg. I don't usually put eggs on my sandwich, but egg. Also, hot dogs. He's going to put hot dogs on his sandwich. And I bet you can guess what this one is. Doesn't it look like I'm peeling a banana? He's going to put a banana on his sandwich. He's also going to put a can of beans on his sandwich. Did you see how I did that? Can of beans, because beans are little beans. And the last thing he's going to put on his sandwich, this is the craziest thing, is ice cream. I love that sign, ice cream. He's going to put ice cream on his sandwich. Here's some other words you're going to see in this story. You're going to see delicious or yummy. And at the end, you're also going to see some friends come into the story. Can you do that? Take your two pointers and lock them and then turn them. And that's the sign for friends. You're also going to see his friends say, thank you. And the sign for you're welcome is the same as thank you. You're welcome. Can you try that? Thank you. You're welcome. That's a sign that you might want to use. I think we're ready to read the story now. This story is called Pete the Cat, Pete's Big Lunch. And this story is by James Dean. Here comes Pete. It is lunchtime. Pete is ready to eat. What should Pete eat? A sandwich would be nice. Yes, Pete wants a sandwich. Pete opens the refrigerator. He takes out a loaf of bread. He finds a yummy fish. He adds tomato and mayo. looks at his sandwich. It's too small. Something is missing. Pete knows what it needs. His sandwich needs an apple. Pete loves apples. His sandwich needs crackers. Crackers are crunchy. Pete loves crunchy crackers. Pete looks at his sandwich again. It's still too small. Pete is very hungry. Pete adds a pickle. Pete adds cheese. Pete adds an egg, 2 hot dogs, a banana, and a can of beans. Something is missing. Pete adds ice cream. He takes 3 huge scoops. Pete's sandwich is too big for Pete to eat. Pete wonders what to do. Pete thinks and thinks. I've got it, Pete says. Pete calls all of his friends. He asks them to come over. Everyone goes to Pete's house. They are all very hungry. Pete shows them his big lunch. Are you hungry? Asks Pete. Pete's sandwich is big enough for everyone. Dig in, says Pete. Pete's sandwich is good. Pete's sandwich is very good. Pete's sandwich is all gone. Pete's friends are full. Oh, they liked Pete's big lunch. Thank you for lunch, Pete's friends say. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome, says Pete. Sharing is cool. So what did you think of the story? Pete the cat, Pete's big lunch. Do you think the same thing? Do you think sharing is cool? I think sharing is cool. Let's see if you saw some of these signs in this story. Pete was hungry. Did you see that? Hungry. He was really hungry to make that huge, big lunch for himself. Did you see this one? This is the sign for apple. You take your pointer and you kind of squish it down and you do it next to your cheek. Apple. He was so hungry, he put an apple on his sandwich. How about this one? This is something I would put on a sandwich. Cheese. You take one hand and then you take the other and you smush them together. Cheese. He also put mayo, which is an M, on your hand twice. Mayo. I'd put mayo on my sandwich too. And maybe some pickles. Pickles. I'm not so sure if I would put crackers on my sandwich, would you? Crackers, even though they make it crunchy, I'm not sure. I know I would not put this on my sandwich. Would you put ice cream on your sandwich? But Pete loves ice cream. What else did Pete love? Do you remember? He loved apples, good, and crackers. I think Pete also loves his friends, and he loves sharing. I hope you love this story as much as I did. Thank you so much for coming, and I can't wait to see what we do next week. Bye, everybody. See you soon.